Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome to the live stream. Really excited to be here today to do some live animating. This is definitely a new thing for me. I've never done anything like this really. It's been years since II has began, so this is really an awesome experience. I think I'm all ready to go. I've got a cool setup going. I've got, of course, my good old Mike Wazowski here to enjoy. And thank you to the hundreds of you watching right now. That's amazing. I'm shocked that there are that many people here to watch me animate. So, yeah, this is something I've never done. I do want to say before I start, if you're at all like scared of spoilers or anything like that, because I know some people like to just watch the show go in 1,000,000,000% blind, then like probably tune out on this just because I'm animating a scene in the episode. If you don't care about that, then it should be completely fine. Like nothing in this is at all spoilery. This is the least spoilery scene of the episode I'm doing today, so nothing should be pretty crazy. I think everything is going well in terms of the chat. There's a 30-second delay between people posting messages, so you can only post a message in the chat every 30 seconds just to keep it a little bit more slow, because there's so many of you already, which is amazing, but it's definitely a lot, so just trying to keep that in mind. Also, I hope that it's actually working. I have no actual proof that it is. So let me just double check on that. I'm pretty sure it is. But I don't know. My computer's kind of freaking out right now because I have so much stuff running at once. Yeah, it's working. We're good to go. All right, so I'm going to go over to... I'm going to open up my scene. And get to work. And also, I know that so many of you are commenting a bunch of questions. I'm going to try to get to as many of them as I can. Oh boy, apparently I have to turn Super Chat off, but my computer is dying because there's so much going on at once. Okay, I'm just going to ignore the Super Chat for now and deal with it later. Guys, please don't donate money to me. Like, I really appreciate it. I really, really do. But, like, try to hold off on that. Okay. So I'm going to get started. Woo! Okay, cool. So this is the actual setup. So cool, right? So it's got, of course, the animation up there. Got me, and it's got the comments. And it's got all my social media, so... This is cool. Like, OBS is great to showcase this kind of stuff, and really excited to walk you through. I'm really just going to be working very casually, so feel free to just ask me stuff. I don't know how long this is going to go on for. I'm going to let in some natural light in here. Hold on one second. All right, that's a little bit better. All right, cool. All right, sweet. So, this is scene 5 of the episode, so that's mainly what I'm working on. I'm going to minimize OBS on my computer. Okay, and I think I'm just going to get to work. There's not going to be any audio playing out loud, just because I just don't want to spoil anybody, but you can see me work on the episode and everything. The storyboard is kind of something that you could turn on or off in the background. We like to set it up like that. The storyboard for this particular scene was done by Hannah, who's one of our storyboard people. She's really awesome at what she does, and shout out to her if she is watching this. And also, I know this is kind of like going off topic a little bit, but I do lip sync last usually. So if you notice in a lot of the animation, it's going to be a little inconsistent. Like when they're talking, their mouth won't move in some parts because I like to do that last. All right, sweet. So I'm going to get to work. I just have Fan walking up here and then talking to Test Tube. Actually, a lot of the characters are present in this scene, which is cool. Oh yeah, this frame is a fun one, just because I get to do that cool effect where you have like a bunch of them in there. So for this scene, what I did was something called blocking, which they call in animation terms. And basically what that is if you have a complicated motion, it's getting the keyframes in and the basic poses in before you actually go ahead and follow up with motion. And the reason why people do that is to just make it easier on themselves, to break it down motion by motion. It's almost like having a map and being like, okay, instead of just going for it, I know that I have to get from this location to this location to this location. And then the journey there is easier because you know where you're ending up. There's actually two different kinds of animation. They call it straight ahead and pose to pose. So this is more pose to pose, where straight ahead, I actually do quite a bit. I like to have a mirror in front of me and just like kind of act and stuff, and then I'll look at what I look like and make the characters do that. Also, you'll probably notice this angle of suitcase is new. So thank you, Lauren, for the amazing job with the design and the prop work. Just really, really talented guy. Oh yeah, so test tube grabs suitcase here. Yeah, so basically this is what I did for this part. Yeah, so it's very obviously blocky. It's not animated. It's just pose, pose, you know? And the reason why I did that is just to make it easier on myself. So I'm going to fill in this motion because everything up to this point is good. I think everything seems to be going pretty good. Wow, there are a lot of you watching. Thank you guys again. I know, sorry, I can't even talk. I'm so flustered by all of this. Like, I really appreciate all of you tuning in. I'm trying to keep as little open as I can. I believe it's still working, so that's good. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to get started. Let me just, I'm going to message Taylor and make sure that the stream is running okay. There we go. Take a sip of my Mike Wazowski, and then we're going to get to work. All right, sweet. Taylor says that the stream is going well. So that is good. Okay. So we just, boom. The fun part about this part is that I'm gonna have to make Suitcase kind of like move around with like secondary action with Test Tube's hand. You can see even here it got disconnected. So I have to make sure that that does not happen. This in between is disgusting. I love it. Part of me like enjoys having fun with making the grossest in between possible. I just find that really fun. I just, unfortunately, I'm actually going to save another version of this just because I don't want anything to get messed up. And also, I know when, your computer is running so many softwares that it can be like really messed up and sometimes glitch and crash, and I don't want to lose any of my animation. So what I like to do is I kind of break up the characters into a few different sections. So you'll see here, it's kind of complicated to just go for it right off the bat and just move every little piece. So what I like to do is essentially break it up into parts. Okay, so Taylor is asking me to slow down the commenting. So now you guys are going to only be able to comment every 60 seconds just because it's just a lot right now. So let me do that. How do I do that? I just had it. Okay, here we go. All right. 60 seconds it is. I'm sorry. I didn't want to have to do this. There's just so many of you amazing people here, and I just can't, just too many at once. But, like, I really, really appreciate all of you being here. Okay, so it is slowed down. So we are good to go. Okay. Oh, yeah, so I like to... Wow, this thing is really... I'm going to have to quit my internet just because, yeah, it's just taking up way too much memory. Okay, I quit it. Alright, so we have to get from here to here. These are things called tweens, which basically put in the motion for you. But they'll still look really weird if you don't do them right. So you just got to make sure to do them right. You know, the basics of motion, timing, all that jazz, and just making sure that it's all lining up. Yes, Taylor. If you could get good questions, I will try to answer them from my phone. I like to have the eyes start to open a little bit earlier. Do I have a squint one I can use? We may have gotten rid of it. There we go. Okay. Just to give it a little bit more of like the eyes opening. There we go. And you can see the eyebrow goes from here to here, which is pretty big jump. So what I like to do is kind of smooth that out a bit. See? Perfect. So I'm going to exaggerate this on this frame so that I can kind of adjust it later on. Right now I'm using Adobe Animate, by the way. That's the software we use. I know a lot of people were wondering about that. I'm using Adobe Animate 2018, but really any version of Adobe Animate or Flash will work perfectly for what object show animation is, and really just any animation you want to do. It's a great software. Obviously, Toon Boom and TV Paint are big too. People really love those. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what software you use. It's very much like anything else. It's a tool. You know, just because you have a hammer doesn't mean you're going to be able to build a house. You still have to build the house. So it's just there for you to use, and it's up to you what you do with it. People have made amazing animations in MS Paint, so yeah. Taylor is sending me some awesome questions on my phone, so that's pretty good. So I'm going to try to answer some of them. Oh yeah, so I want to move this up a little bit, her face. I'm going to do anticipation here. And I'm going to do a little eye shake too, just because it gives it a little bit more urgency, which I like. And I'm going to add a ease in, ease out. Yeah, that looks good. And then, so I want some anticipation. So I'm going to bend her arm a little bit here, move her face up, and probably move her arm up a little bit. Go like that. And the screen protector, so I need her to move forward here. And also, I'm sorry, like, I'm not playing the audio. I just really don't want to be spoilery. So I need it to get from here to here, so. Okay. Okay, so if it's going here, then I actually should bring it in a little bit more. And I'm going to exaggerate this again. It's all about adding that anticipation and that bounce to really make it feel like the character's moving. And I like to do the upper body first and then the lower body and then the entire body. So it just breaks it up easier. There we go. Here is going to be a quicker transition just because I kind of want it to be really snappy. And also, yes, this is kind of a very shipping frame. So that's pretty hilarious. I always like it when, like, you're going to notice Suitcase actually looks very, like, whited out. And the reason for that is I'm working within this symbol, not on the main stage. So anything else on the stage gets grayed out, essentially. And it kind of visually communicates what you're working on easier. By the way, I'm drinking right now. I bought at Target, what's it called? Dulce de leche cookie flavored coffee. It's fine, but it doesn't taste like dulce de leche cookies. Tastes like coffee, like instant coffee, so it's not that good. But it's not that bad either. Okay. Anyway. Okay, so I'm going to want here another sine curve. And with Adobe Animate 2018, one really good feature they have now is that they have these custom easing kind of tools, which are really, really fantastic. They have so many different charts you can choose from. And I've been trying to take advantage of that. So you can see here, she closes her eye. And so if I want to visually communicate that better, like I said, I like going for a squint. This is our asset library we use. So there's like a lot of different eyes. Like this one, as it gets kind of, I'm going to fatten it up a bit. It's a little bit too fat. There we go. Right there we go. You can see that. And I'm still like doing the lip sync last, so I'm not worrying about that right now. And yeah, you're going to notice like it's not that exciting, you know? It's not the most exciting process in the entire world, but it's exciting for me, you know? It's where I get my fulfillment. Wait. Okay, there we go. I think that this arm could be maybe this one. Could be lower here. There we go. Sweet. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna make this 100. I think that eye twitch is a little too far. So there we go. I'm going to smush this a bit as well. And then have it stretch a little bit. And again, I'm going to do the squint thing to give it a little bit more quality, even though no one will probably notice in the final product. So that's what it's all about when you're an animator, doing things that no one's going to notice, because that's what it means to you. All right, there we go. That looks pretty good to me. And I save my work because that is very important. You won't even know the amount of times that you just lose so much information. I'm actually going to ask Taylor. I have no idea how many people are watching, what people are saying. I'm going to take this opportunity to answer a couple of questions. From Ray Kintz, Anti. Is this episode going to be longer, shorter, or more in the middle? I'm curious, but the exact time doesn't need to come out. If it is longer, will it be 2 parts? This is a good question. The episode will not be 2 parts. I don't believe we'll be doing that again, but who knows. This episode's 1 part. Is it longer? It's shorter than the last episode. But it's pretty in line with like episode 10. Around that length. So it's shorter, but not by that much. You know, it's still around like the 20 minutes-ish mark. Yeah, so, and then Beluge says, "Hey Adam, do you watch fan videos or look at other fan creations? I love making fan works for your show. I love seeing what you guys make, and it really is like incredible to see all the stuff you guys do. When I was at the meetup, I got so much amazing artwork from fans personally, which was an amazing experience for me too. I do try to look at it. If you tweet at me at Animation Epic and tweet me really anything, I'll 100% take a look at it. I retweet a ton of art from people that send me stuff. So even at the meetup, everyone who sent me even just a photo of me at the meetup, I retweeted that like almost every single time. So just as an example, I'm going to pull up my phone and pick out a really cool... Oh, this one was so awesome. Yeah, like someone did a little comic strip, which was really, really neat, about our website, which was really awesome. There's just so many little things like that that are just really, really amazing. Okay. Taylor just told me there are about 700 of you watching. Whoa, that's a lot. Thanks for watching. Okay. Dud Soupchin asks, "What is your favorite episode of Inanimate Insanity Season 1? That's a really good question. I thought I would enjoy it a lot less watching it back, but I really did. You know, it kind of brought me back to when I was 14 and stuff, and there's definitely a lot to love in even like the earlier ones for me personally, although I completely understand if anyone disagrees with that, because it was like me as a 14-year-old thinking I was so funny. I'm trying to think of what episode is my favorite. I love the episodes with MePhone 4S. Those were great. I really liked, I'll say, like, I really liked 15, 16. I liked 8. It was really good. Someone asks, Mirror Gem at Animation Epic, "Was there ever a moment you animated that originally wasn't in the storyboard? No specific scene is needed to be named." Yeah, of course. I mean, we didn't start storyboarding the episodes until episode 10 of season 2, and the reason why is because we had more people working on it, and we needed to have like a solidified direction so everyone could work on it properly. And even with all of that extra stuff to do, it's still quicker than just animating it myself or with Taylor. I can't think of anything specifically, but definitely all the previous episodes, and then episode 10 we didn't even storyboard everything, so there are definitely certain scenes that I just kind of went for it. When you do that, you do run a risk if you just go for it without a storyboard, because storyboards obviously lay out your shots. They give you a second to process what the shots are going to look like, what the staging is going to be, and how that's going to communicate on screen. I feel like when I just go for it without any direction, that I lose a little bit of that, and so I like going off of storyboards because I feel like I give myself more of an opportunity. This is a disgusting in-between. Oh my gosh. There we go. The facility. Okay. Okay. So this one's fun because this one's going from this view to this view. So you're going to see something really funny. I'm going to auto in between this and see what happens. It's probably going to look absolutely disgusting. Oh yeah, there we go. Isn't that great, you guys? Look at that beauty. So basically what's going on is when you shift from one view to another view, certain pieces of your body are going to have to go in front of you and behind you depending on what angle you're at. So if I'm standing like this arm is facing you guys. So you see this arm and this one's in the background. But if I turn like this, all of a sudden that changes. And so you have to adapt that with the layers. And unfortunately, this is going to take a little bit of massaging. Okay, so I like to do it bit by bit. I think that's the easiest way. So right around here, this frame is probably where I would see the other eye start to show up. So I'm going to put that in here. I'm going to put that in there. I'm also going to take the eyebrow and put it in. Oh, wait, no, I don't need it because it's just this one. Okay. LOL. Look at that. There we go. Stretch it a little bit. This part I'm just going to do frame by frame. There we go. So that's kind of a good way to cheat it. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to Taylor for helping me out with getting me some awesome questions from you guys. You guys don't see how insanely passionate he is about the show, and he doesn't express it as much maybe as certain other people, but he is like unbelievably passionate, not only about the show but about all of you guys. He really does care. So shout out to Taylor for just being a bro. Okay, I'm actually going to move this over. Ugh, that looks so bad. All right, we have to adjust that. This is just, wow, that took some massaging right there. There we go. And obviously the arm doesn't, so I'm going to have it do this. And this is going to be the frame where I start to switch over things. I'm actually going to change this arm to this one. Gonna do a smear frame right there. So I need the hand to go from here to here, so I need to get the arm to not look like that, because that looks absolutely disgusting. Okay, so it needs to be there. Okay. Okay, that doesn't look perfect, but it looks decent. Okay. All right, so now to smooth this out a bit, I'm going to add some basically backlash here. I'm going to make the eyes a little bit bigger. Going to move the eyebrow up here. Move the mouth down a bit. I'm also going to move the whole face up just a tad so that it'll settle down like that. I'm also going to compress the arm just ever so slightly, just to give it kind of like a bit of a springy feeling from here to here. And I'm also going to give this some backlash as well. There we go. So now I'm going to add in 100% tween. Okay, let's see how that looks. So you can see here, I think the big issue, why it's looking kind of gross, is that the eyes are moving at a very different rate than the mouth here. So I think, even though this isn't quite right, I think in motion that'll look better. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. Nice. All right, there we go. Also, I want this to be a little bit later. I've changed my mind, so we're going to move that into the future. Animate's going to give me the rainbow wheel because it loves doing that when I move frames. So that's fun. There we go. And lastly, I'm going to save because saving is important. Okay, really quick. I'm going to answer a couple more questions. From Morpheus86. Hey, where did you learn to animate? Were you self-taught? I was. I just really learned from playing with software, YouTube tutorials, and also watching a lot of my favorite cartoons and seeing what other people were doing and what techniques they used to make their animation look good. There's so many shows on TV that inspired me growing up. I've kind of like went on about them. There are YouTube creators that are great. Some of whom, well, obviously Jack and Jellify, and Michael and Carrie like really helped me out with the whole object show thing, getting me to go, you know what? Maybe this isn't impossible when I'm 13. And I think that's huge, honestly, and why this community is so special in that way, because it's getting people who are young to say, you know what? No, I can make a cartoon. I can get a crew together. I can do this. Whereas I feel like years ago, people would just say, well, I need to get a job at Nickelodeon and then work for like 17 years until I have this position. Whereas like now you could just go out and do it. You don't need to have that opportunity handed to you. And I feel like that's the most important thing to know. And the most important lesson that I've taken away is that it really is possible. You have the tools these days. You just have to use them wisely. Oh yeah, and I wanted to answer one more question. Is there any character you would have liked to go further in the season since you had plans for him? Which were your original plans for Soap and Nickel, for example? Okay, so that's an interesting question. Is there anyone? I think that obviously no matter who you lose, it's going to be unfortunate just because any character immediately loses some of that development when you get rid of them. And so anyone in particular, I think that Tissues could have had more, although I'm okay with where he was. I think Sherry's definitely could have had a lot more development. I would have loved to see more of them. Soap, I think Soap lived out her story arc pretty thoroughly. Obviously, you could do more, and I think that's kind of like the tricky part about these kinds of stories is, especially now, we're really trying to like make their character stories pretty coherent, but when you lose characters, they're going to have to be people that are more developed than others, and that's just unfortunate. Nickel, I think, definitely had a really good story. I think he was a really multifaceted character. I think you saw sides of him that were ugly and supportive sides, especially with baseball, and even Suitcase at times he was supportive. And I think that it's really good to have characters like that. It adds a lot to the show when you don't really know how you feel about them. I'm just going to add a normal sine curve here. Okay. I'm going to make the arm have a bit of bounce here, just because I feel like the arm looks bad, but everything else looks pretty good. Sometimes certain pieces are going to take more massaging than others. Also this eye, too. I'm going to give it a little bit of bounce. That might be a little bit too exaggerated. Let's see. Could be a little bit more. There we go. I wonder why that's happening. I don't like that. Okay, that looks better. Alright, so this is a really quick transition. I'm going to add the auto in between again so you can see how disgusting it is. Whoops. Alright, let me add that. Boop, boop, boop. Why is it saying I can't? What am I doing? Oh, it's because of this one. Alright, I'll just add that in there. It's fine. Ugh. Wow. LOL, guys. Wow. Okay, so this arm needs to get from point A to point B. So what I like to do, honestly, is I put my finger on the screen where it has to end up. And so... Alright, it needs to extend farther. There we go. So, obviously here, you can see the arm is starting to fall out of its socket a little bit. So you want to keep that intact. At this moment, I think I'm going to move it out like this. And put it on the bottom layer at this point. Okay, so it's this one. There we go. See, that looks pretty rotating-y. I'm also going to, at this moment, I'm going to squint the eyes here. I think that'll add a little bit more urgency, I guess. Oh yeah. Do I? Okay, so I'm gonna answer another question now. From Hawa Kin. Any advice for beginner animators? And now I do want to preface this by saying I am in no way an expert animator. I actually think I'm kind of a bad animator, to be honest. But if I were to have advice, I would say A, don't be afraid to do it. Like, there's so many times you just make something and you're like, ugh, this looks so bad. Like, don't think that way. Just get it out of your system, try things, do things, experiment, and don't be afraid to make bad stuff, because all of your favorite artists make bad stuff. They just don't post all that bad stuff. So don't be afraid to do that, and to just, the only way you're going to get better is to keep practicing. Obviously, I think the power of watching things gets lost too. I think, like, you really need to watch a lot of good content in order to make good content, not only for, like, technical reasons, but inspirational reasons. There are periods of time where I don't really feel like doing anything because I'm just not inspired to do anything, and that's huge. So watch things that make you happy, that inspire you, implement it into your work, and draw. Really, the better you are at drawing, the easier it's going to be to get your vision out of your head and onto the page. Which is unfortunate because I'm not the best drawer either. But at the same time, it's like, it's true though. Like, the better you can draw, the easier animating is going to be, because when you need a new piece, making that new piece is going to be all the more easier, because you're not going to have to spend like 80 hours on it, because you're going to kind of know how to do it, which is huge. So definitely draw, watch, and don't be afraid to test things, and don't wait for the opportunity. Just go for it. Make. Get it done. Get it out the door. Don't spend 80 million years on one little piece. You know, make something, move on. I know it was kind of a long answer. Okay, I'm moving this eye here as well. There we go. Also, I don't like how it opens early. That isn't good. I don't want that. Here I'm going to make the eyebrow. It's going to kind of dip and go back up again. So I'm going to have it dip. And at this moment, I'm going to start to bend it. There we go. I think it's, at this point, cutting it too close to the eye here. There we go. And it still looks off. I'm just gonna move the whole face down a little bit at this moment. Give it a little bit more of a round kind of feel. This arm's gonna take some massaging. And you can see, like, these little things really add up. You know, there's so much you guys don't see that takes so incredibly long, even with this simple kind of animation, which is really interesting. But it all takes time, you know? Okay, so at this moment, I'm going to copy and paste it onto the top. So it needs to get there. Okay, so... Ugh. Okay. Honestly, this could work. This might just be crazy enough to work. Let me get this. Yeah. Yep. That works. Who would have thought? And now I'm going to do the same thing. At this pose, I'm going to give it a little bit of that elasticity by subtly changing things here. Skinning the mouth, making it a little bit bigger. And then it settles down a little bit just to give it a little bit more of an elastic feel. Because I think that helps a lot when you're doing like really quick motions. There we go. Okay, great. So now I am going to add in a 100 tween. Perfect. I think that looks pretty okay. And like I said, I'm not doing any of the lip sync now. However, if you go into the mouth, there are a lot of different ones that you can pick from. So we definitely have our options with that. Oh yeah, so I'm gonna answer more questions that Taylor sent me. Thank you again, Taylor. Okay, so hello, Adam, from Chicken Nugget. Hello, Adam. I visited the II website a few times, and I love how you described some of the everyday lives of the eliminated Season 2 contestants, but will you do the Season 1 contestants? Thank you, by the way, for checking out the site. I do want to say all of the descriptions are not 100% me. Actually, I didn't even write that many of them. A lot of that work is done by Brian, who does an amazing job, Justin, and Taylor helps with the editing and stuff, and I just kind of design the website. But I'm really glad that you like that. And Season 1 contestants, we do have plans of putting on the page too, so you'll see that. And we have plans of going more in depth with especially some of the ones who you haven't seen in a really long time. Something about this eye doesn't look good, so... It shifts weirdly enough. I don't know why it's doing that. I think it's just too small of a motion to register. So you know what? I'm going to get rid of it. And then Testo kind of goes back into a normal pose at this moment. So I'm going to give her a little bit of anticipation first. I'm going to drop the eyebrow a little bit. And at this moment, I'm going to tilt this up a little bit. I'll tilt this up a little bit as well. There we go. I'm also going to, at this moment, pick a different mouth just because, yeah. Perfect. I like this one better. I think at this moment she should have her mouth closed. And I'm going to, at this moment, I'm actually going to do the opposite of an elastic movement where it kind of settles into the final pose a little bit more. So I'm going to squish the eye a little bit. And that's a little bit too much. Oh, okay. Taylor wants me to answer this question from Ray Kins Anti again. And by the way, before I answer this question, I do want to say, like, I'm sorry that I can't answer all of your questions. I know there are a lot of you who have questions, and I feel really bad I can't get to all of them. If you do have any questions for me that you really, really want to answer, just ask me on Twitter at Inanimate Tweet or at Animation Epic, and I'll get to it. Seriously. But anyway, Raykins asks Taylor when he joined the crew and if he was friends with me beforehand. And the answer is yes. We went to summer camp together when we were 9 years old, and we bonded over really loving to draw, which is super funny, like in hindsight, like thinking about things like that. And yeah, 100%. We knew each other before. And when I put up II episode 1, he wasn't involved with it at all. But he saw it and he was like, wow, you made a cartoon. That's so cool. And like, I'm surprised that he found it as cool as he did. I'm obviously very happy he did. But yeah, he essentially just said, how can I be a part of it? And it all went from there. So yeah, he definitely did know me beforehand. No doubt about that. And yeah, that's how it all began, and we've been friends ever since. It's funny how things like that can happen, right? I'm actually going to move these ones. I want the anticipation to be shorter. Let's see what we got here. I think I answered all the questions that Taylor sent me, so that's good. So I guess I'll just wait for him to send me more if he wants to. I would open my internet, but my computer will literally die, and I'm surprised that it's doing this as well as it is, to be honest with you. I don't think I've saved in a while. I'm gonna save. Ha ha ha. There we go. There we go. I need this to go a little bit more. There we go. At this frame also, I think test tube's going to have a closed mouth, so let me put that in. Ooh, that looks just terrible. Oh my god. All right. I'm actually going to move this one over and put this one in between those slots. This thing really likes to chug along. I mean, I have a lot running right now. I have OBS and Animate open, so I guess I can't blame it way too much. Also, apparently 500 of you are still watching. Like, thanks for watching. It's awesome. Before this point, I'm going to squish the eye. And I'm going to do the squint one again. Love the squint eye. Also, I know I've been doing test tubes upper body for like an hour now. You guys can see how long it takes, can't you? Does it make more sense now why these episodes are taking a little while? And this is just the animation, by the way. This isn't even counting everything else. Alright, cool. Now I'm going to add in the in-between. Oh my god. Okay, so actually, for this part, I'm gonna paste that. I don't know why it like can't figure out what I want. Alright, I'm gonna put that in a sine curve. You know what I want to do? Okay, so I'm going to move this like this a bit more. But I'm also going to duplicate this hand. And I'm going to do like this fun effect where I'm going to have her hand kind of break a bit. So then it kind of adds this little snap. I think that'll look pretty good. All right. All right, so test tube at this moment drops suitcase, so it's here, right? Okay, I think it needs one more in between, which I really didn't want to have to do, but I'm going to have to do it, and sometimes you do need to do those things. So I'm going to draw in a really gross hand, because when something's on screen for like 2 seconds, it doesn't have to look very good. I think it just needs to be scrunched in a bit more. There we go. We're going to have her... I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try an elastic. I don't think it's long enough to actually work, but it's fine. It looks okay. If we really want to sell this dropping motion, we could just do that, and it'll... You can get away with so much just by squashing and stretching and slightly moving things. It's pretty amazing. I'm actually going to add a classic here. There we go. And the funny part is, this is no lip sync still, so I still have to do that. And then, I need to move her upper body with her legs. So, who's excited to do that as well? So, here's the upper body. So we're going to add a little bit of this. And this really adds, so you can see, like, if I rotate this here, now you have a lot going on, because now all that upper body stuff is happening, but you're adding in some lateral motion too. So it makes a huge difference. That being said, I don't want test tube to... I think this pose is better. So here, her legs are actually switching places in a 3D space. So I'm going to do this frame by frame just because I think it's easier in this case. I'm also going to add, I'm going to make it this leg. Okay. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to put in this. All right, that looks pretty good. A nice... a nice rounded motion there. Right, this one I think I can keep pivoting. And you know, you're moving only a few pieces at once, so okay, so the foot does need to still be turned outward here, so we want to keep it like that. So from here, so we could add a transition leg. I think that'll really help out. Nice. So in order to sell this a bit more, I think having test tube bend over a bit more and then go down a bit with her body and then come back up could definitely help. And then at the top, if I ease out a bit there. The in-between doesn't look great, but you could see how that kind of is working in terms of like emotion. I'm going to just add a sine curve in here. I don't think this needs much. I know the leg bends here, so in order to smooth that out, I'm going to give it a transition leg again. Also, I think that this would look better if I did that. And I'm going to give a little more settle on this leg, especially. I think it kind of needs it. Yeah, that's huge. So we have to get test tube back to this pose. So I'm going to bend her here. Really give it a round motion. This might not look great, but I'm going to give it a try. Okay. So I think that could look pretty cool. So at the top of her motion, she's going to start to go from slow to fast, speed in, and then at this moment, I'm going to continue it with a... Here, she's going to bend down. All right, here again, I think she's going to have a little bit more of a circular motion. There we go. Okay. Awesome. That looks pretty cool. So what we have to do now is we have to get the legs to actually work with that. And that's not going to be the easiest thing. This is a pretty crazy motion. You want to make the balance believable. You don't want it to look like impossible to do either. Although animation sometimes kind of calls for that. Here we go. So at this moment, her legs almost switch. Places. So I got to keep that in mind. Also, at this moment, you're going to really need test tube's leg to scrunch up in order to get that silhouette. And then here, obviously, you need there we go. Okay, so now we just got to smooth out the keyframes. So here, for example, the leg is switching here. This one, I don't think we're going to be able to get away with the tween. I can try, but it's not bad. But what we have to do here is switch the legs over, and you do that by using the transition legs, which are super helpful. So and you've got that boom boom. All right, so let's try adding the Oto Tween here. Nope, that's not gonna work. Okay, so in this instance, I think the best thing that we can do is use an onion skin. which will show you basically the frame before and the frame after. This is super helpful in a lot of instances. So her foot like pivots here. I think that could work. Yeah, that could work. Even though it looks weird, I think that like when it's this quick, it's not gonna look weird. So you just try to like get, what would the in-between look like if I were to draw a drawing in between the two? Nice. I think that a bent leg could look good here. Okay. I'm going to answer more questions because apparently people don't care about watching me animate. I thought you guys cared about this. Okay. So I'm going to answer a few questions. Let me just ask how many people are watching now. Okay, so I'm going to answer a few questions. Skater Cheese asks, what was your favorite part of writing the Inanimate Insanity Infinity timeline? I think the really interesting part for me was that all of them kind of served the same kind of idea, where they all had really wacky personalities and were all really distinct in their own ways, but they all kind of resembled the same idea. It's kind of like this hypothetical that Lightbulb's been looking for. She wants someone who's really quirky and wacky and out of off the charts like her, and she finally gets that fulfillment with so many different people around her, but she realizes kind of like the danger in that mindset, and that it's not maybe something she actually really needs or wants. So I think that having all of them kind of resemble that same thing through so many different personalities was a lot of fun. Anyway, T Bag Amari asks, what about a masking tutorial if you want to do that? I don't know if I'm good enough at animating to do tutorials, but that would be really fun, and it's not something I'm opposed to. In this scene I'm doing right now, there is no masking, but yeah. Do you ever get tired when you animate? Yeah, I'm tired right now. And that is from Chantel Clairville, so thank you for the question. Number one Mike Fan Petty asks, if the remaining contestants had superpowers, what powers would they have? Oh, that's so interesting. I think Fan would probably have the ability to, like, read minds. That'd be pretty cool. Test Tube obviously would have the power to, like, control elements of science. I think would be really neat, like rock, water, air, and stuff. That could be really helpful in her experiments. I think Knife would just be, like, brute strength. Would be, like, really cool, like, just, like, super strength. Who else? Microphone. I think, like, supersonic hearing is kind of a superpower she already has, so I think that works. Baseball, I think the ability to, like, roll and then speed through things, like any surface, could be really cool. Like almost the Kirby wheel power, where you, like, roll and then jolt forward and crush through things. Suitcase, I think the ability to, like, chomp and snap on people and break, like, huge surfaces could be really cool. Also, like, shooting a grappling hook out of her would be really neat. She could swing from things and then close and snap on people. That could be super sick. Am I forgetting anyone? I think no. I think I got it all. Lightbulb. Oh, yeah. Lightbulb would have electricity. She'd, like, shoot electricity at people. There you go. That wasn't even that hard. I thought it'd be way harder. There we go. I'm going to delete this. Oh, yeah. So, guys, we're going to have a special guest right now. Very excited. I'm going to call Taylor right now and just have him on the phone, and he can help me answer questions. He knows that it might be hard for me to pay attention with everything going on, but I'm just going to call him, spice things up, and he'll be able to actually give me, you know, an actual thing, which is going to be great. I'm going to put my phone right here.
Oh, wow, that's really funny.
Hey, what's going on?
The moment you said there's a delay.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I figure this would just be easier. Just because.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. I totally understand if people are like bored. Animating isn't the most exciting thing, as you know. As you know from like animators calls.
Yeah, I was actually getting my own scene done as you were animating. I was just kind of like, it felt like I was in a call with you where you were just talking about animating, because that's something that we do a lot. Sometimes we're just like in a call together animating, and I'm kind of like, hey, take a look at this, or blah 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 blah. So I was getting my own scene done while you were doing yours.
That's so funny. You can see how long my animation takes too. It's like,
Oh
it's
yeah,
awful.
you
This
were
scene's
really
hard though.
showing off just exactly how long this type of stuff can take, especially if you have distractions such as people trying to, I don't know, any person trying to distract you takes away a lot of stuff. But that's why we're doing this. We want to kind of do both things at once, because I think it's really cool to show off just how everything works. I think like you're showing off a really really cool movement, especially with test tube. You did like a really cool movement where she kind of like bent it backwards and then forwards. I was like, wow, that's so cool.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, yeah. Like, some of these in betweens are so bad, but that's kind of like the beauty of animation.
My favorite was in the beginning when you were like, let's just try to auto in between, and then like her face just got all squished and like weird backwards.
Yup. It's really unbelievable how much massaging it takes to just make something look not atrocious.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And you're showing off some really good animation techniques as well. That I think look really really good. So I think this is a really good stream. I hope we can do things like this more.
Yeah, I think that it would be great if we could. I think it'd be really really great.
Unfortunately, this is one of the few scenes of this episode that is not spoilery. Perhaps if we come across a scene where things aren't spoilery, like maybe the background needs to be different or something like that, whatever it is, like I would really like to do this type of stuff more, because it's real fun.
Yeah, it's super great. And so many of you at the meetup, I think one of the things that really inspired me to do this was going to the meetup, which obviously Taylor you were at, and seeing so many people come up and ask like, how do you animate? What do you use? What's the process like? I want to go to school for animation. How do I get into it? And so I think things like this could maybe make it a little bit less intimidating, because the characters are so simple, and
For sure.
I think that it could help in that way.
Yeah, I had a lot of people who were curious and asking about, what type of software that we use, and how we do it all together. And people were asking like, oh, how long have you been doing this? And like, it's crazy when you think about it. We've been doing this for years.
Years. It's pretty unbelievable, right?
Yeah, it's actually really wild, and it makes me kind of just think how wild it's been, how things have changed from season 1, where we were using Anime Studio and having all the difficulties with that, and we were drawing a bunch of the backgrounds in Paint and Paint Tool Sci and all that other stuff. It was really really fun sometimes it's really fun to look back at season 1, even though I haven't watched that in a very long time.
Yeah. Oh my. I actually like. I think I said earlier in the stream. Like, I watched some season 1 episodes recently, and
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with it. Shockingly enough. Also, I'm doing a technique right now in my animation called secondary action, which is basically where we have test tube's motions done. So since she's holding suitcase needs to move with her arm, and so the best way to do that is to animate test tube first, and then when you know where the arm is going to be, you animate suitcase after, because it's just so much easier to do it that way. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you're really showing off the process really well. That especially when you have a very difficult movement like you have here, with two characters interacting, specifically one character holding another, it's very, very difficult. But you are really showing off. You needed to do test tube first because Suitcase's movements need to be based off of where test tube's hand moves. So obviously you have to do one before the other.
exactly.
So,
You got to go step by step, or else it gets really lost in the shuffle. I'm going
absolutely.
to 115 it. There we go.
So I could definitely go ahead and try to answer some more questions that I see. I'll just kind of like say them, and as I find them, I'll kind of like see what I can do. I know that you're busy animating, so like if you're talking, I won't interrupt you unless like you're done with what you're saying. I can just immediately go, oh hey, like take a look at this question I got for you.
Yeah, I would love if you have any questions at all that, because I don't know if people are leaving the stream. I know people obviously like the longer it goes, the more people are gonna leave, but.
Yeah. We got some people back actually, surprisingly enough. Once we started answering questions, the numbers went back up, so I thought that was awesome.
That's so funny. Like, how many people are watching now?
According to my screen, 457.
Hey, that's like crazy though. If you really think about it, it's pretty unreal.
Yeah, at one point, it was about, what was it, like 800? I think I was messaging you. What was it, about like 800? I think. And that was wild. Yeah, but there were so many people then. It was very difficult to ask things. Or to answer things. So this is kind of a little bit better, just because now it's a bit slower. You can actually have questions. So I'll just kind of ask questions as I see them, as long as they're not spoiler questions and not questions that we don't really want to answer. So here's this one from Felicia Arichetta. What's the easiest part of animating, if there really is one?
That's funny. That's a good question. I would say the easiest part is that with certain scenes, depending on what it is, you could almost like it's almost like autopilot. Like your brain just kind of does it. It's relatively low stress. Once you get to a certain point, I feel like with storyboarding, it takes a lot more thinking. Where you're like, okay, how's the shot going to work out? Where do I put the characters?
Very right.
And then with animating, it's kind of more autopilot-y. Where you're just kind of going for it. Do you agree with that, or?
Yeah, I definitely do. When I'm doing a scene right now, and this isn't a spoiler, so I can say this. It's a scene that involves fan and knife. And I remember as I was animating knife, I kind of like, I was trying out a new angle. Actually, I was talking about this with you the other day. I tried out a new angle, and I wasn't really even thinking. I was just trying to make a really cool shot where I believe they're examining something, and I like didn't even think about like where to put knife, where to make a move. I kind of just what I really think is helpful, and you even had said this earlier, but I would definitely want to highlight on how this technique is a lot easier when you animate characters based off of your own movements. That's a real biggie. I think you mentioned that before, right?
I did, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So what I really like to do as well is that when I animate characters, specifically if they're saying a line that has a lot of emotion in it, which luckily we have a lot of characters that have a lot of, big meaningful lines, I'll even act out the line myself, and this especially goes into storyboarding, but sometimes storyboards are very limited. You don't have a character in a very regular pose, maybe you don't actually see how they move. So I remember I did one scene this episode where Fan says a line and he's acting kind of clever and kind of coy, and so I decided to make Fan cross his arms and kind of do an asking pose, and that was because I set the line out to myself, and that's kind of the movement that I did. I was like, oh, if I want to act this way and talk this way, what movement would I do?
1,000%. Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah, so in my opinion, I'm not sure if I would say it's the easiest thing to do when you animate. It's kind of like it's the most helpful thing, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally. I
Yeah.
think for me at least, it's the easiest way, just because I think when I try to just act it out without thinking, it just doesn't come out quite right. I don't know. It just looks more bland. There's less personality.
Right. I'm trying to type the sentence "ask questions" with one hand because I'm holding the phone with the other.
Oh,
There we go. I posted it.
I just put. I don't even know if the viewers can hear you on the camera.
I hope they can. You should ask them.
Well, can you listen to the?
Oh, actually, I guess I could just listen. Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna be quiet for a sec. Hold on, wait. You can hear me. You might want to move me a little bit closer to the microphone, but.
Okay, I could put it in omnidirectional.
Omnidirectional. Don't move. Don't run forward. Don't run back. Don't run omnidirectional.
This could help.
Here's a good question. From Lightbulb Inanimate Insanity 77, who is your favorite character from Inanimate Insanity Infinity?
Oh. Do I have a favorite? I really liked Hey Bell was fun. I liked Frank a lot. Kumquat was fun. I liked a lot of them. Traffic Light was fun.
Yeah, well, what was really fun about Inanimate Insanity Infinity was we brought a bunch of new voices in between backers as well as personal friends. We had a lot of really fun people come in, including like Jennings. We had Jennings come in for Kumquat.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, we had Madeline for Hay Bale and Bandana. She did a great job. And you mentioned this, I think, about Bandana. You have there's that fun fact about Madeline and Bandana, right?
Yeah, that their Madeline is... Oh, okay, yeah.
She voices the pirate.
Right. Okay, yeah. Not only does she voice, both Hay Bale and Bandana. Sorry, it's so hard for me to, think while I'm also narrating.
No, I know what you mean.
But it's also, that... the Bandana character was based off of a character in the Treasure Time short film that I posted on this channel a year ago, and so the Bandana character was based on that character because he had a bandana on with the same pattern, and so she voiced both the pirate in that thing and then also in the episode, which is pretty cool.
Woo, yeah. Okay, so let's see some other questions. There's really nothing. Is there anything you want to talk about your animation right now? Since I'm waiting for questions.
Oh, let's see. Well, you can see here that I'm really tracking Suitcase with the with Test Tube's hand. So this is really a painstaking process. I turned off my Google Chrome because it was really tough on my computer.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, it was really tough on my computer.
Oh, here's a good question. From PG5000, what media or TV shows inspire you to do animation, and what inspired you to do animation in the past, and what inspires you today?
Oh, that's a really good question. Just some of my favorite shows and stuff like that. Classic SpongeBob, the original, was huge. I really loved Fairly Odd Parents growing up. Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends was huge for me. Those are three really big ones. Taylor, what? Total Drama Island, obviously, was
I was gonna say
massive.
Total Drama. In terms of what influenced me when I was younger, did you already say Foster's Home, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Because I was gonna say Foster's Home was a really big one. I love watching Foster's Home. This is a really weird one, but it's a show that has it's not particularly a good show. It just has really good animation, and I remember I watched it for a while just because I was like, wow, this is beautifully animated. Jimmy Two Shoes.
Yeah.
It's right? It's really well animated, and it's not particularly that amazing of a show. It's just kind of it's alright. Today, I definitely know that a bunch of shows that influenced me animation-wise. I really unfortunately, it was canceled. Wander Over Yonder was really good. It's incredible animation.
Yeah, that's a great choice. That is true.
I think it's fair to say that Steven Universe can influence a lot, especially just different some art styles and some themes and such. What's another show that really can influence? Gravity Falls.
Yeah, Gravity Falls is a great choice.
Yeah, and then of course, Total Drama is kind of the parent of all of this. But what I think is really funny is that now they're going in a very bizarre direction with this new play date, little preschool one. So I think we've entered a scenario where I think certain object shows are better than Total Drama.
I think you're right, and honestly, I really loved Total Drama Island. It really, it was a huge game changer for me personally, and being wow, I love the game show format with the cartoon. It works so well, and I loved all the characters and how dynamic and different they all were. But as it's gone on, I loved World Tour. I think that was honestly one of the peaks of the series.
Yeah.
But, oh man, the toddler thing, I actually watched the pilot of that. Have you seen that yet?
Oh, I didn't see it.
Yeah, it's up.
Oh boy, I don't know if I watched it.
Yeah, it's hard. I didn't like it at all. The animation was great, and it was really cool, and I loved seeing all the characters back, but just like, it's just disappointing because it's so much worse than what it used to be, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like you're eating really, really fancy mac and cheese, and then you get Kraft, you know? And it's just unfortunate.
Shut up.
Kraft mac and cheese, look, don't get me wrong, people love it, but it's like you have like truffle mac and cheese, like the fancy stuff, and then all of a sudden, you know?
I mean, I don't typically eat fancy stuff, fancy mac and cheese, but if you're having some good mac and cheese...
Well, you know I don't even like cheese.
Oh, that's right. You hate feta cheese.
I hate feta cheese.
I kind of want to tell that story.
You could. You could.
Right, here's a fun random story that comes from a couple of years ago. This was before season 2 started, so it must have been 2012, I guess. And so, no, 2013 or something. Whatever it was. Adam and I, we were on this travel camp together. This is just a really fun story. It has no relation to II. It's a really stupid story. We were in a restaurant, and we were in a group of like 30 people. And so, of course, like the person who was, waiting our table and, serving us, didn't really get our orders correct. So Adam had ordered like a Greek salad or something like that, which came with feta cheese. And he said specifically to the waitress, I do not like feta cheese. Please do not put that in my salad. And she said, okay, I will make sure there is no feta cheese in your salad. And I was like, thank you. And so, like, 15 minutes go by, and she finally comes back to the table, and she hands Adam the salad, and sure enough, it's covered in feta cheese. Like, not just like a little, but it's absolutely shrouded with feta cheese. And Adam kind of just stares at it and goes, what's this? And the waitress goes, what? And he goes, is this feta cheese in my salad? And the waitress goes, yes. And Adam goes, oh, okay. He takes a moment and then he shouts, I hate feta cheese. And like, everyone just goes silent. And the waitress goes, oh, okay. I can get you a new salad now. And Adam's like, thank you. And she like takes the salad away. And Adam just sits there with like his arms crossed, like, And like you were like probably like 14, 15 or something like that. So of course like you were pretty pissed, but
not. I think it was. It still wasn't justified how mad I got at it, but I was just so mad because I was like,
so
I like hate feta cheese. Please do not put it on my salad. I'll do anything. And of course, it's just not only is it on there, it's just completely drenched. You know, like come on.
Oh, now people in the chat are saying I hate feta cheese.
Dude, I just screamed it, but that's good also. They can hear the audio.
Favorite stories about just about you, like and how like crazy angry you would get about like something so small and random. All right, let's. Okay. Here's a question from Paper Inanimate Insanity. A lot of these people have accounts that have II names. Who's your favorite Total Drama World Tour character?
Courtney. She's my favorite character in the whole show.
Yeah, no, actually, that's a good one. I really didn't wish she was in All Stars. I hated.
Oh my god! I honestly would love to do like an in-depth discussion on this channel about Total Drama All Stars and where this show has gone. Just because, like, that was such an upsetting thing because they had stuff to work with. They had all the ingredients there, and they just dropped the ball. And like all of the character dynamics that they wanted to do, just like they would drop them because they're like, oh well, it'd be funny if this happened. Like for example, throwing it out there, spoilers if no one's seen it. Duncan was a big one. So Duncan was always a character where
Duncan was like your favorite character for a while.
He was, and he was like a jerk, but he was a really likable, multifaceted character that had like really you see his insecurities and you see like how he can be kind to people. But unfortunately, exactly. in Total Drama All Stars, they basically just make him really flanderized, where he like can't do anything bad. He like can't even say a swear word, which like okay, I don't buy that. And then all of a sudden, he's like, you know what? No, and he goes and he blows up Chris McClane's house like with dynamite and destroys like all of his property. And so they're like, you're going to prison, and they just like put him in prison. And I'm like, okay, so what am I supposed to take away from this story? Is it like that Duncan wasn't a good guy, or because they went way too far in one direction and then immediately flipped to the other direction, and none of it was believable, and it just kind of gave you a sour taste in your mouth. Like, that's kind of lame, you know? Like, this really multifaceted, you know, complicated character just became like this really flanderized, stupid character. And then Courtney too. Courtney was really, a lot of the show in Total Drama All Stars was revolving around her and like how she was becoming better as a person and having a friendship with Gwen. And then in the final episode, she just became awful and like just started saying things like, "Oh, I'm just not gross like everyone else." There was one scene where she was trying to eat a gross food. I think it was an ice cream sundae that had like bird vomit on it. And she was like, I can't eat disgusting food. I'm just not gross like everyone else. And like,
I like how long you're ranting about this.
I know, because it makes me so...
I have thought about this for a while.
Totally. I think like, and the worst thing about it is she says that, and yet they had a whole episode a season prior to where she like ate gross foods and won the challenge. Like, and she was known for like cheating for other people because she was so good at it. So like, how can you forget something like that? It's just so bad.
I just kind of like question, like, in the writer's room, do they really sit down and do they like, like, what do they say to each other to make these terrible plot lines?
I honestly wish I could tell you.
Yeah. Let's get on topic of Total Drama, because we could talk about this for like days, or just
days.
All the issues, but also the same things, you know, the good stuff. This question was asked a little while ago, but I saved it. Imonga Awesome asks, how do you decide who animates which scene?
That's a good question. I think we just kind of like analyze people's strengths and weaknesses as animators. Mostly strengths. Like if people really enjoy animating action and really hate character interactions, then we don't want to give them a character interaction, because at the end of the day, they're not going to want to work on it. So, does that answer the question?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It definitely works well also with, we have to know what the availability, you mentioned the availability, I believe, of, you know, what, how character, you know, which animators work best for which scenes, but also what their availability is. If someone is like, hey, I can only do about like a minute or so, then we give them a minute. We really try to balance the amount of work we give to people, unless someone's like, hey, I'm totally down to animate like 3 minutes of this episode. And so we really will sit down and we'll work with it. It really does, we really do base it off of a lot of what we believe strengths of certain animators are. Especially if, like, for example, Adam, let's say that you animate, like, well, I guess actually you and me are kind of an exception. Because I don't personally mind this. Like, for example, last episode I animated a lot of scenes that involved the light bulb and test tube. So maybe this episode I'd want to animate you know, people other than light bulb and test tube. But it's kind of, you know, I don't know. If you animate a certain character for a really long time, at least for me, I get a little tired of them.
Sure.
I really get tired of animating Mifun 4, unless he's doing something really funny, like the bear loss thing. I get very tired of Mifun 4, and sometimes I skip ahead and I decide to do something else. Or if there's a very difficult animation, like I had to do an animation of someone closing something in my current scene, but I didn't have the right props or the right stuff yet, so I waited and I kind of skipped ahead. That's at least, I know I'm kind of going off topic, but at least one of the biggest pieces of advice I could give to anyone is that, like, if you come across a part where you're just not sure what to do, I usually say to, like, skip ahead and decide to do a part that's a little bit easier. At least spend your time doing something you're more confident with, and then you can move backwards and you know, work on this part that you were having struggles with. Working backwards is certainly, like, there's no, like, rules, like, about, you know, you can only work forwards and, you know, nothing else. How do you feel about that, Adam?
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, if you at the end of the day aren't enjoying what you're doing and you're, like, really burned out, then don't just keep doing it, you know, because you're not enjoying it. So move on to something else that you like better. That being said, don't use it as kind of an excuse to just not do anything. It's like, well, I don't really you know, this scene's kind of boring, so I'm just not gonna do it. Like, I wouldn't say do that.
Yeah.
However,
It is difficult,
space it out.
however, well, actually, sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was going to say is, especially after it's been a while since we animated for the previous episode, getting back into the animation of this episode was actually rather difficult because it's been so long since I animated. So when I started my first scene, it's a rather mundane, sort of boring scene. It's not really boring. I wouldn't call it boring, but it's less exciting than the others. I kind of started off and I was like, oof, I really don't actually... Like, I'm not really sure what I'm doing right now. I needed to kind of get myself back into the gist of things before I really was, confident about my animation potential, if so to speak.
No, absolutely, 1,000%. You do get rusty.
You're always animating, so.
Yeah, it's you definitely do get rusty if you kind of let it sit out. Like right now, even I'm a little bit rusty and things are a little bit slow going.
Yeah, definitely. All right, I'm trying to look for other questions, particularly not spoilery questions, because there's a lot of those.
Yeah, I'm sure there are. Haha.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of spoilery questions. Everyone's asking like, oh, what's gonna happen with this person? Is there gonna be this? Is this gonna happen? And I'm like, maybe not.
And I always wonder about things like that, because it's like, let's just say someone says, and I'm making stuff completely up. It's like, will Lightbulb kill Knife in this episode? And you just go, yeah, Lightbulb will. Then, like, are their response like, oh, okay, good, I just, now I'm going to watch the episode and know that? Or is it, like, I don't understand what they want.
Now that you have like, the confirmation that this event will happen, you are more likely to watch the episode, or probably not.
Yeah, definitely not.
I wouldn't want to watch a scene if Lightbulb killed Knife. That would be really funny. Alright. Looking for other...
I'm gonna actually watch the SWIF of this, because I want to see what it looks like.
Yeah, sure, go ahead. I have a question for you when you come back.
Okay. No, I'm just watching it.
Sure.
On screen, too, so... I don't know if it's playing, actually. It might not be.
Nah, but it's okay. Do you want me to ask... oh, wait. I totally just lost the question that I was going to ask. Oh, I remember it, though. The question that was asked was, who is your favorite character to write for?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think Knife is really fun. Just because I really, a lot of my humor, as Taylor can kind of attest to, is really sarcastic and, like, kind of savage. And so I think, like, having a character like Knife in there is pretty fun.
That's true.
What would you say?
I'm trying to think. Lightbulb is, like, very fun because she's a very flexible character. You can make her say a lot of fun things. Testive is incredibly fun, especially with the new dialect that we've been giving her. I don't really know what the right word for it is, but the golly, gee whiz, that whole stuff, like the nerdy scientist thing, that's always been really, really fun. I know that among the older characters, Soap was actually really fun to write. Because I forgot about this too. Microphone's very fun to write too.
Yeah, Microphone is really fun to write for. Taco as well. Taco is obviously. Taco is really good.
She's very fun because I really enjoy she really likes to cut right to the point. Other characters might struggle with things, and she's kind of like very headstrong. She really wants to. If she wants to do something, she's gonna really push for it and really try to do her best. Unless she doesn't want to do something, in which case she kind of hesitates and she gets really hesitant about everything that she wants to do. It's really fun to recall what a character do when put into this scenario, and
the dynamic between her and Microphone is really fun.
Yeah, I think between the four of us, because we all kind of have strengths and weaknesses with certain characters, between the four of us, we really are pretty balanced in terms of how we write our characters. So that's write certain characters at the same time. I know that you'll write a character better than me. I know that Brian certainly writes certain characters better than me, and then vice versa. So,
yeah, totally, because, people are different. You're totally right.
Totally. All right.
How many people are still watching after 2 hours?
425.
That's actually pretty good retention.
Yeah. No, it's actually pretty good. So, yeah, this isn't so bad. I might eventually have to step out for 2 minutes, but I'll be right back.
Yeah. No worries. I mean, I don't even know how much longer I'm going to stay on anyway. Probably a little bit more.
You've been on for a while now.
Yeah, about a little less than 2 hours. Go to 2.5. I'm going to.
You've been on about 2 hours.
That's pretty crazy. I just noticed when I think when I export the SWF and look at it, no one can see it because it's only sharing my Flash window. Kind of like in Discord.
We did see the whole animation when you played it out, so we've actually seen it.
That's true. It's just really laggy on stream. Is the stream really lag?
No, it's actually... Well, I mean, obviously you're 30 seconds behind, but the image is clear, you're moving very fast, we can hear you fine, so you've got a really good setup going.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, and people have been able to see me this entire time, and I have no idea what I look like or anything like that. I don't know if I've been, super up to the camera or, good enough close away or far away.
You look fine.
Okay, good. Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
As always. But then, oh gosh, you got really close because there's
Yeah. There's a delay.
I think it's kind of funny because you didn't need to show your face during this, but you chose to, and this kind of just shows animation. It's really a slow, not very exciting process, but in the end, you end up with something that's really fun and exciting. So.
Yep.
Yeah. So. All right. I'm trying to see if there's any other questions that are fun to throw in.
This one bit here is so hard. I don't know why.
I think you're making her. She drops suitcase, doesn't she?
There we go. Okay.
You need to make sure that the drop direction is correct. Obviously.
Yeah. It's a little bit off to the side, but it kind of needs to be because she can't be right next to.
Okay. Looking through. Are there any good questions? Let's see. Okay. Here's an interesting question. From PG5000, do you like puppet animation or frame by frame better?
Oh, is that from TT?
No, that was from Peachy. You can
Oh, that's so funny. I thought you said TT. Do I like puppet or frame by frame? I like puppet more, to be honest with you. Which is not a popular answer, and I think there are times where frame by frame is really fun, but honestly, I think puppet animation is a lot less stressful, and as someone who isn't the most intensely artistic, obsessive person, I kind of like puppets more. What do you think, Taylor? You've kind of done both, right?
I haven't done enough of frame by frame to really have the best opinion. So maybe I have to choose puppet because I've really been so used to puppets. Frame by frame is incredibly helpful though. I mean, you have more. What's the right word? Yeah, you have more creativity and more openness when you do frame by frame. I feel it is slower though, so you have that constraint. But when you do puppet animation, if you just want to have a character lift their hand up in the air, it's 20 times faster to do it with how we do it than drawing every single frame. I think that some people underestimate just how slow animation can be. I mean, that's why a lot of people are like, oh, I want the new episode right now, and it's as much as I'd absolutely 1,000,000% love to give you this new episode, it's just not done. And that's because animation is really slow. And I think hopefully, if anyone takes anything away from this live stream, it's that we really are passionate about making our animations look good, but also we need to be mindful of being, making sure that we're moving fast.
Exactly. Yep. So true.
Mm-hmm. People are confused what we mean by puppets. Puppets are what we use with our characters, such as you have Test Tube with her 2 arms, 2 legs, and her face. That is what we call a puppet, and you can move the arms, the face, the legs, and everything. We're not talking about puppets like the things you put on your hands.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Puppets are basically characters like this, where they just have pieces, rather than like drawing the character over and over and over again.
Right, yeah. So, okay. Hey, Anna, here's a question. Wait, I just lost it. Oh, no. From a username I can't pronounce. What do you do when not animating?
Nothing. I just sit in the corner and don't interact with anything. No, that's a good question. Let me see some hobbies. I would say I play video games, but honestly, these days I've been pretty bad about playing video games. What do I do?
I've been bad because I've been playing video games a lot, specifically.
My day-to-day is basically I get up, I make breakfast, I went to class. My class is over now. I'll work on Inanimate Insanity or like other animation projects I have, answer some email-related stuff, and then I'll go to the gym. I do a lot of running, a lot of like weightlifting. That's pretty much it. But my life isn't very exciting, I just kind of like act like a machine in a way.
I just like the idea of we don't exist. We're just like robots that appear for the camera, and II is actually a auto-generated series made by like computers. We're only here to just be the faces. I remember someone was like, when these streams end, we actually disappear. We don't actually exist. I just love that idea that someone had.
It's pretty accurate, yeah.
Yeah. Who from Ghosty Soda? Who is your favorite character to animate?
Oh, it's so hard.
It is really hard.
I like animating Suitcase, to be honest.
She has a lot of different angles now, which is really fun.
Yeah, that's pretty fun. I really like animating her. I like, I think she's a good pick. I like animating Lightbulb. Knife is fun, too. Who would you say?
I really enjoyed Paintbrush. They were very fun because, well, first of all, their hair was always just a really fun aspect. Like, it made them different, and anytime I make them move, their hair always would bounce back, and that was really fun. Also, the fact that Paintbrush always gets angry, and something about animating angry characters is very, I don't want to say it's cathartic, but honestly, it's really fun, just because it kind of like, you really get to push all the emotion out of the character. And especially with Paintbrush, it was really, really fun, especially in the last episode, where Paintbrush likes to scream a lot. And who else is really fun to animate? Taco's really fun. I really like making her kind of sassy, but also very like pish posh. I know that in this episode, I was storyboarding a couple scenes with her, and I really like making her like all uptight. And I remember I know that this isn't a spoiler, but I know that there's one line where she's like, "Per se," and
yeah.
Reagan recorded the lines obviously for Taco, and she did such a phenomenal job this episode. She is so fun, and she really puts a lot of life into Taco.
1,000%.
Yeah, it's really fun, specifically with characters' voices. Also, I forgot to mention, Fan's really fun to animate too, because having Fan freak out about a bunch of stuff is always really fun. It's really fun to give him different facial expressions, make him kind of scream. And I remember at the end of episode 10, he kind of freaks out about the tiebreaker, and it's just the tiebreaker, but he still is he starts screaming and all that stuff. That was really, really fun.
Yeah.
Fan's very, very fun to do as well.
Fan is a lot of fun. Honestly, all the characters can be a lot of fun.
Someone asked, I just want to point out this weird question. Someone's like, "Oh, sing in microphone's voice," and it's like, guys, the voice of the microphone isn't even here.
Yeah. People are always like, "Oh yeah, you voice all the characters, right?" I'm like,
Adam
"No."
does all the characters.
Like, I don't even know how someone can get that idea, because I don't want to call them dumb or anything, but, like, I don't sound like that. I don't know.
Maybe they're asking us, like, in the future to make microphones sing, or I don't even know. They said it in present tense, so it was like, let's go ahead and call up Haley and say, "Hey, someone wants you to sing," and she'd be like, "What?" Like,
Yeah.
please go away.
Please go away. Thank you. Please exit. To your left.
Okay, let's find some last questions, and then I'm gonna actually have to head out because I have to go clock out, and then I gotta go home. So, but if you're still animating when I get home, it's gonna only take me 10 minutes. I will happily join again.
Yeah, I might be here. I might be here. I do feel bad because I pretty much, like, kicked my roommate out. So I might.
That's Drew.
Yeah, good old Drew. So
Yeah.
Our live stream savior.
Yeah. Someone wants you to talk in Testu's voice for 5 seconds.
Okay. Let me take a drink of something. I've been talking so much.
Take a nice drink of Mike Wazowski.
Hey everyone, so I'm gonna talk like this for a while. I'm just doing this voice to make someone really happy. Yeah!
There you go.
Yay!
Just for you guys.
Now everyone's happy.
Good. That's all I asked for.
Okay, cool.
Wait, I don't need a setup. I need a body part. I don't know if this is showing up either. I don't know if they can see, like, the swap symbol things.
I don't think you can. Probably because it's only set on a specific window. But yeah, there's a lot of swap symbol that goes into it. I'll share a technique that I like to use that saves a lot of time when I animate.
Yeah, go for it.
Keyboard shortcuts, like, my God, those save time. They're really, really helpful. I'm trying to get Adam to some of the keyboard shortcuts that I use, but they help me animate very quick, especially when I have some last-minute scenes that we're editing that I need to do, because I edit, sometimes when we get scenes from animators, we edit them, we tweak a couple things, but especially when I animate, keyboard shortcuts are so incredibly helpful. I've kind of, like, adjusted my, like, mind to remembering, like, if I want to swap a symbol, I click this button, and if I want to, like, add keyframe, I click this button, or duplicate this one, or anything, all that stuff, especially adding, like, tweens and everything. It is so helpful when you have keyboard shortcuts. So definitely make your own keyboard shortcuts and try to memorize them if you can. It takes a little while, but overall, it's really, really helpful.
Yeah, that's so true, and I've been using a few now, specifically Classic Tween, making that a keyboard shortcut, Swap Symbol, making that a shortcut. That's been huge, so...
Absolutely.
You're 1,000% right.
Someone asked if you're going to make another how-to series. I assume, like, the How to Animate series, which that's kind of the point of this.
I think it'd be really cool, and honestly, if people want that, I'm not opposed to bringing it back. I think it'd be cool to, like, have more content. Yeah, I'm not going to say it'll never come back. I just always say, like, I don't know if I'm qualified to teach people how to animate, because I don't know that I'm good enough at animating to teach people. You know what I mean? It's like it's almost like a responsibility.
I had someone who I'm sort of friends with approached me last summer and actually asked me to kind of, like, give them. They asked me, like, they were like, "I'll pay you to teach me how to animate," and I was like, I'm not, like, I don't consider myself at all like an expert. Like, you know, I know how to animate this stuff, and I think I'm okay. I think I'm pretty good at what I do, but, like, I don't think I'm qualified to, like, give someone the actual, like, I don't know how to really say it. I don't know. I just don't think I'm necessarily, like, a teacher. You taught me at least a couple things in the beginning, especially when in season 1, you taught me how to use Anime Studio in like 2 days.
That's true, I did.
Yeah, I remember actually. I was at your house and we got me Anime Studio, and then you taught me kind of how to like animate basic stuff, and that was right around episode 7, because that was my first. That was the first episode I animated for in season 1.
Yeah. Wow, that's true. I thought. Oh yeah, I guess that was the first
animation,
one.
but still.
I guess that was the first one.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna ask one. I'm gonna answer one more question. I'm gonna have to run. Because I'm gonna have to go. People want me to talk in Toilet's voice. I'm sorry, I can't do that right now.
Oh, come on, Taylor. I know you can.
I would annoy people. I do not want to do that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Maybe another time. I would be very happy to do Toilet's voice another time. Oh God, people are asking me to say some very bad things. I don't want to say that.
Fantastic. I wouldn't expect anything less.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not surprised. Okay. How long, from Hydra the Coin, how long does it take to write a script for an episode?
A month? But not because of writing, just because of like a lot of squabbling.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Before we write an episode, and this is going to be the last thing I kind of say, before we write an episode, we kind of have like a game plan about, what's going to happen, what is each character going to do, if they're going to accomplish something, what is it, what's the way that they act, and blah, blah, blah. Especially when, if there's like especially if there's a challenge that we have to work in, we have to kind of like make things happen. Particularly for like this episode, we said before that this episode's a little bit different. Obviously, I don't want to say why, but this episode has a lot of like complexity things that happen, and we really wanted to make sure that we got things right. So between the four of us, we really did sit down and worked on the script for a very long time. We went back and forth. We talked about, should a character hold this, or should they hold this instead, or should they, say this or say this instead? A lot of times we'll write a line and we'll actually like have like different versions of lines in the scripts, depending on just what we think fits right. Especially if you don't have the script done, we'll put in like temporary lines, and then we'll kind of add like little footnotes of like maybe say this instead or say this instead. So it's rather difficult to write, but in the end, I think once the whole process is done and the script is actually complete, I think we actually end up with a really good script, especially for this episode. It's a bit complex, and I still think everyone will enjoy it, though.
Yeah, I think so too, and like I think the main takeaway with us is that you could have the best animation in the world, and if the story isn't good, then it's all for nothing. So like make the story count. Spend the most time making sure that you're happy with it, because not only will the final product be infinitely better, because that's really like 95% of what the content is the story, but also you'll have more fun and be more passionate about working on it if it's actually something you believe in,
For sure, yeah. I definitely think that people will like this episode. I really don't want to say why it's different, but I feel like we kind of say that about a lot of episodes. I mean, even 12 was different, but it was different in its own way, and that's why I really liked it. It was unique, and I think 13 will be very unique as well.
I agree.
I think I don't want to say anything else because I definitely am going to spoil something.
Yeah, no worries. Just don't.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
You're fine. Okay, yeah, go for it.
But I have to go. I really enjoy being on stream. How long are we gonna keep this going for?
I don't know. Honestly, like I haven't been looking at the stream whatsoever, which I'm a little worried about.
There's about 370 people watching now, so it went down, but there's still a bunch of people. Obviously, keep going, keep doing what you're doing. When I get home, I'll look back at the stream, and if you're still online, I'll message you if you want me to call again. But I gotta go, right now.
Okay, you got it. Well, thanks for coming on the stream, man.
I gotta make sure I stream when I leave, because that's like
Yeah, that's true. That is
You
like the
do
thing
that.
we do.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, wait, I can't hang up. 3, 2, 1. Ah!
Okay, there we go. He can hang up. I'm basically right now with the animation trying to get Suitcase's legs to like drag behind. So what's so interesting about it is you have Test Tube's main motion. You have Suitcase's secondary motion where she's flinging around with Test Tube, and then you have her legs dangling off of her. So you need to make sure that those come and move just slightly later than everything else. So you always have to be thinking about that sort of thing, because if that's wrong, the whole thing is going to look wrong. I'm actually going to look at the Swift. I'm watching the Swift now, which unfortunately you guys can't see. I wish you could. Ugh. Yeah, the animation honestly like doesn't look that bad. But it's crazy because like I'm polishing this much for this little part, which is absolutely insane. The rest isn't quite that complicated. Let me just respond to someone really fast. All right, there we go. All right, unfortunately, what sucks is it's going to be harder to read comments. However, I do have it on my phone, so I could pull it up, and that will be easier. Although, I won't be going for that much longer, but it is really cool to see, like, it on the phone working and everything. And thank you guys so much again for tuning in. It's really, like, amazing to see how many people are watching. I don't think my phone is going to have the live chat on it, which is really annoying. So that sucks. So I guess the questions are going to have to dip for now. However, I do have the comments loading on the stream itself. But anyway, let me finish this part up because this is like crazy how long it's taking. Alright, I'm going to here make her legs kind of dangle back a little tiny bitty tritty mini bit. Boom, look at that. Just like the teensiest, tiniest. And these things really do add up and they matter. So like keep watch of them. Alright, so we're going to have some dangling. Because honestly, the motions here are really easy. It's just like timing them correctly with everything else that's kind of tricky. Like right here, at frame 387, I want the legs to really... Alright, I'm gonna move. Alright, there we go. And then here, I'm gonna have the legs move back a little bit. Okay, maybe not that much. I don't want to lose this pose. The leg is a little bit higher on this one. So, classic sine curve. I don't think that's enough really, so I'm going to actually use a quad movement. Okay. All right, right here, I actually want the legs. I think this is the better way, just to like go, okay, I want it exaggerated here. See how that looks. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I think we could even push it more, though, to be honest with you. I don't want to be afraid to, like, really push it. And I can move this one frame up, or even two up, so let's see how that looks. Oh, yeah, that's huge. You can see that really has that swing. Sweet. All right, so right here, I'm going to have her legs be straight again. And then really get pushed this way. And I'm going to put in a tween there. And then I'm going to swing them around this way again. I don't know if this is going to look good, but I think that's what it needs, so I'm going to give it a shot. A lot of animation is just kind of like testing, you know? So let's see what we got. Yeah, I think it's a little bit late. I think these could be like that. I'm gonna put in another sine curve. There we go. And then put in a little bit of that in there. It's a lot of massaging. And her face isn't even animated. Like, guys, look how long this is all taking. And you can see I'm not doing anything like crazy necessary. It's just a really tough shot. And sometimes that's going to come up, or some shots are just like absolutely devastating. And that's going to be in any animated project you work on, unfortunately. Alright, so a little bit later than this, I'm going to have her legs swing a little bit just to give it a little bit more flow. Alright, let's see how that looks. None of it's showing up. So I'm wondering if it's just not enough. I'm gonna have to push it even more. Alright, so I'm going to drop this more and add in one more tween. Once this section is done, I'm probably going to tune out for the day. But seriously, like, I really appreciate each and every one of you who came to watch me for 2 seconds. I mean, I find that amazing that people would watch this. I really didn't know if anyone would. Or I'm sure I figured someone would, but I didn't know just how many. So really, like, thank you guys so much. All right, There we go. I'm going to make it this leg. I'm going to use a transition one for this one. I'm going to make this leg actually a little bit after this one. And you're probably like, why not keep them the same? I think that irregularity in animation actually adds to it a little bit. Like this one in particular. There we go. Let's make it this. You want to really like make it look like smushing down. So maybe move it a little bit more. And then when she lands that final thing down, you're going to want to put even more emphasis on that by making her bend even more forward. There we go. Okay, awesome. Sweet. And then I would just basically animate her face afterwards, which you saw me do a lot with test tube. I'll do some lip syncing for a second just so you guys can see like what that's like. And you know, with test tube, I'm gonna go to the straightest part, which is probably like right here where she's pretty upright. I'm gonna go in there. There we go. So here she's going, "Th." So I need a mouth that kind of has like the kind of feel. So let me grab one of these from the library. This one looks pretty good. And then here as well, you're going to need, so her mouth is like open, but not completely all the way. So you just have to pick one that works for that too. There we go. Okay, and then, so I'm going to take all these layers and convert to keyframe. And this is going to basically make every keyframe a dot. Oh, interesting. That's not supposed to happen. Huh. That's very weird. Okay, well, it doesn't matter that much. Okay, so she's doing like an F sound, like F. So we got to find that. There we go. The F. She's going again. And then S. So gonna bring it up a bit just to give it a little bit of stretch and whatnot. She starts to open it up again with eh. So again, I'm just gonna do that. Alright, there we go. And then here she goes L again. So we gotta have the L mouth, and you can see this is the frame picker. So you basically, you make all of the mouths in its own symbol, and then you can swap between each frame, and that's essentially what this is doing. And you know, this goes beyond mouths. You can do this with anything. Okay, so it is. So there we go. There we go. And then ease again. So she's going like ease. She's saying the facilities. So you really, if you look at your mouth, like ease. So you gotta like really make it open up, feel natural, all that. Wow, it's pretty crazy how exhausting being on camera for this long is. It's so funny. It's kind of like sad how tired. I'm going on a hike after this. I'm excited. Okay, zzz. So again, she's going ease. So her mouth is going to be showing teeth at that moment. So that's the first thing we got to show. So if we want to give it more of that elastic feel, again, we can add in-betweens. And what in-betweens will do is it'll make the motion more smooth. So and then all of these mouth movements are going on with all of the major motions. So all these little things do count, but you do have to be mindful of what people are going to notice. All right, I'm going to watch the Swift because I don't know what this looks like right now. Whew. Oh my god. So crazy. Yeah. Okay, this is coming out good. Hey, Drew.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that this main motion, I think I've kind of covered a lot of different things. I'm going to play the storyboard for you guys and then what I've completed so far. Oh, that's so funny. Okay, the audio wasn't on. So that's the storyboard, and then I turn the board off. Yeah. So that is it, guys, and I know that I've been going for a really, really long time. Drew, I know that you've been with me every step of the way today. What do you want to say to the viewers? Anything?
Nah.
Okay.
Enjoy animating.
Well, I'm wrapping up.
Okay.
So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so thankful for each and every one of you who stepped in. Honestly, thousands of you today who did. It's pretty insane. So thank you guys so much. I really want to do more of these in the future. If you liked it, please leave a like on this video, leave a comment telling me what I could do in the future to make these more enjoyable. It is really tough to focus on animating for the episode while also answering questions and doing everything like that. I hope that at least it was somewhat helpful and entertaining for you guys. Also, I can change it to this view for the ending. I had this at the beginning, and yeah, I am using these headphones to just kind of like make it a little bit easier for me. But guys, oh my god, my throat, it's like from talking so much this whole time. It's pretty crazy. Thank you guys so much, really, for tuning in, and I really hope that you like the animation. This gave you something. If you guys, yeah, at Animation Epic, as it says right there in the corner, if you want to check me out on Twitter, please follow me. I post sneak peeks and stupid tweets all the time. You could reach out to me with any questions you may have, and so if there's anything like that, yeah, give me a holler. I'm so glad I'm seeing some comments that you guys enjoyed it, and I'm so glad that the feta cheese thing has stuck. I really hate feta cheese. Like, I think it's one of the grossest things to ever graze this planet. Let's see. So, I'm trying to think of a fun way to end this, but I really can't think of anything. So, I guess I'll just stay tuned. The episode is on its way, as you can see. I hope this shows how long it really takes to make it, even with so many people working on it. And that's pretty much it. That's all I can ask for, really. Have a great day, guys. Let me know what you thought, and take care.